Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Pod Z CCG.
Pod Z CCG.
That's right. This is Brandon.
This is Brad.
Crisis and
Torment.
What's going on, guys? So just to give you guys a little bit of background on who we are and why we're doing this, we've been playing this game since Trunks Saga came out.
What game have we been playing?
Dragon Ball Z CCG.
That's right.
From Square Entertainment initially.
Yes.
I know Anna Mayhem had their little fruity version of it. And then Square just took it and worked wonders with it. So, like I said, we've been playing it since 2001. I showed up to Target one day to get my cousin a birthday present, and I don't even remember what I got him. He was turning, I think, 12.
But you remember what you found at Target.
Oh, yeah. Some Dragon Ball Z cards. I mean, we were into Pokemon here and there just because we loved the TV show. We were pretty much Pokemon fiends in high school. Set 1 came out when we were, juniors?
Yeah.
Juniors. So we decided to beg our mom for Pokemon cards since we didn't have any money. And she got us some because we saw them at Toys R Us. And we were hooked since then. And we had to find that elusive Charizard card. I think what kicked us out of Pokemon was they had a first edition set.
Yeah.
And we were collectors, so of course we needed the Primo limited first edition. And since they didn't have first edition anymore, we decided not to pursue Pokemon. That was 98, 99. So fast forward to 2001, I'm going to college. I've got a job at Domino's. And I walk into this Target to get this birthday present. And lo and behold, I see starter decks for Dragon Ball Z.
But yeah, we've been hooked on the Dragon Ball Z animation ever since we saw it and bought all the mangas, and I still have all the mangas for it.
And we try to get our friends in it, like our, I wouldn't call them simple-minded friends, but more, I don't know what to call them, people that don't like Dragon Ball. We tried to get them into it, and he's like, well, I watched one episode, and the main character was using ×4 or whatever, and of course I corrected him, Kaioken. He said, yeah, but I was waiting for his body to explode, but it never did.
Yeah, he said he thought he was going to die when he used ×3, and then he ended up using ×4. Of course, he's talking about the Vegeta fight, and he just didn't get it. Whatever, it's still like the best show that ever came out.
Yeah, so I immediately picked up 2 of these starter decks at Target and a few packs, and I got Goku and Vegeta, and it was just smooth sailing from there. Come to find out, there was a limited edition that we didn't know about until, Cell Saga maybe? Like, we didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Until we started going to tournaments in Cell Saga. So we were collecting through Android, Cell Saga, and I've just been doing it ever since. Right now our collection, we have every card from all the sets limited, and we only need about 50 to have the full limited foil set.
We got 50 foil limited cards, and we got every single foil limited card for the old Z.
And we've got every promo except for Ring Out,
Heroic Head Throw,
Locked On,
and one more.
World Champ Punch, or whatever, the SC8.
Yeah.
So we've got pretty much all of them there, just still working on it. We only need 4 Ultra Rares. Goku, the Unbeatable from Trunks Saga. Majin Vegeta, 5 from Babidi.
Z Warriors Gather, and Vegeta the Revitalized.
Yes. So that's all we need for Ultra Rare wise. So we're almost there. And we've got every foil for set 1 and set 2 for the new Pansy.
Yeah, Pansy's awesome.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So that's why we wanted to just do the pod, because How did you put it?
We listened to a few of the other podcasts out there, and they seem to be lacking a little bit of passion. They want to discuss the cards. They want to argue about Wallbreaker and this and that, and I just hear a lack of passion. And every time I listen to a podcast, I think, well, me and Brandon could do a pretty good one. So that's what we want to bring you guys, a good quality Pan Z podcast with some old stuff mixed in between it, some old Z, retro Z. None of that Bandai crap, the Reezy, none of that. We want the old score and the new Pan Z because that's the best card game that there ever was or will be. Magic, can't get into Magic, too many sets there. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Ugh. Dragon Ball Z seems to just stick out.
Don't say to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because some guy wants your Test Tigers for trade and you won't trade them to him.
No. I still have a Gladiator Beast deck. And then I might bust out at a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament.
And I've got Exodia, Royal Magical Library or whatever. It's fun to play. And I don't like the retro cards. I think people get confused with Score Z, which is Saiyan through Kid Buu, and then Retro Z, which is what the guys did over at Retro DBZ CCG, where they released a few sets, like the Baba and all that. I mean, it's cool they did that to keep the game alive, but I don't recognize it as canon for this set.
Not even GT.
Oh yeah, GT is just another thing.
It's horrible.
Yeah, we tried to collect GT, but trying to collect every foil card was hard because there are two foils.
The flat foil and the awesome foil.
Yeah.
And we're like, screw this. If you want to try to make another game out of this, they changed all the rules. You got to look at the top 6 of your library, your deck.
Look at you using Magic terms. Library, where'd that come from?
From my library in my mind, I guess. And in order to advance levels, you had to remove banished cards
from your graveyard.
Yeah, from your graveyard, exactly. And you had to banish them, and it was just stupid. They took away the whole anger aspect. Every attack did 18 life cards of damage.
Black Uber Blast.
Yeah, whatever. So I think that the main reason I wanted to do this was I felt like there was a lot of passion that me and Brandon could give that I listened to other pods and they weren't quite bringing that. We've been playing this since it first came out and we've gained knowledge of it. We've obsessed over it. And this is really the only card game that we like to play competitively.
I know my wife hates it.
Yeah.
I caught her one time. She said that she hated the Dragon Ball. And I said, why do you hate something that brings me happiness? And then she felt kind of bad. I don't hate it. I just hate the people that make it because you have to spend all this money on cards. And I said, well, it evens out because we make money, so...
Yeah, we usually only spend money on it that we use that we sell on eBay, so that we've got that going for us. My wife understands it. She lets me and the kids go to the tournaments every Monday and letting me do this podcast, so she doesn't mind it. So do we want to get into... We're doing introductions. Do we want to get into our playstyles that we like to do?
Yeah.
So my playstyle has always been aggressive decks. I like to attack people. I like to diminish their deck through attacks. So I like an aggro deck. And I know Brandon is the opposite.
Yeah, I like quirky decks. I like decks.
I wouldn't even call them quirky.
What would you call them?
I'd call them passive decks that you don't even care what people throw at you. You just want to stay in your little turtle shell and win the game that way.
Yeah. So in the old Z, we started out with Saiyan Goku decks from Cell Saga. When that mastery released for Trunk Saga and we saw the Goku personality from Cell Saga, we said, well, this goes hand in hand. So we made 2 pretty much exact duplicates of each other's deck and just ran through tournaments with them, local tournaments. We thought we were the tallest dwarf in the circus with those decks.
Yeah.
First and second place every time. Back then, our comic shop that we play at now, they used to have about 16 to 24 people who would play Z, and we'd, do top cut, and eventually we just get first and second. But it was just balls to the wall, excuse the pun, with saying beatdown. But then I found my niche when Tough Enough was released.
Tough Enough deck.
I was like, let me take a look at this. The only way to win in Tough Enough is, killing your opponent. So I decided to make a full-on Namekian Piccolo regeneration deck. I didn't do Slug because I hated playing villains at the time, so I would always do Hero, Piccolo, Namekian, and that was just such a fun deck to play. Of course, I ran all 7 Dragon Balls with Make-A-Wish. So what Make-A-Wish does is it's a non-combat, or if it were in today's terms, a setup.
I still call them non-combat sometimes.
Yeah, I slip all the time. I say, I'll put this non-combat down, and the new players will say, like, what? And I'll have to set up, non-combat, you cannot use this card if you control less than 3 Dragon Balls of the same set. Shuffle all Dragon Balls you control into each owner's life decks. Shuffle 10 cards from your discard pile into your life deck. So I abused the heck out of that card, Namekian Regeneration, just a whole lot of cards that people really didn't use. Namekian Regeneration was a combat/event that let you shuffle 3 cards back into your life deck, but I believe it had a remove from game after use tag on it. But it was awesome. I remember, I guess we'll talk about tournament play later on, but I've got a pretty funny story about this deck that I'll bring up later.
Is that the time that I went up against it?
No.
Okay. So when I went up against this deck, it took like hours to beat if you wanted to beat it. And back then we didn't have a time limit. So sometimes people were playing for like 90 minutes trying to beat this deck, and I was only able to pull it off like once. That was brutal. So you kind of got an idea of what playstyle we like to play now. I
didn't talk about my Dragon's Victory deck.
Oh, go ahead and talk about that.
Dragon's Victory deck that I still have built to this day. People would see me like at regionals or whatever, sit down Namekian Piccolo, and then get confused when I declared hero instead of villain, because at this point in time I didn't know too much about the metagaming out there. I didn't know too much about it, and apparently everyone ran, including Richie Williams and his clique, a Namekian Piccolo villain energy beatdown deck.
Yep.
And they basically, whenever they'd win a tournament, whenever you'd win a big tournament like a regional or national, they'd give you a foil version of your deck. So they would take that deck and give it out to their friends and just copy play that deck. And it was just half that tournament was a copy deck of this Namekian Piccolo energy beatdown villain deck. So when I played my deck, it was full of non-combat cards, and could set up Dragon's Victory on the DL. I think that's slang that young people still use out there. And I remember, I keep wanting to talk about tournament plays, but I'll just talk about this one. I remember at this particular regional, I had went 2-0. The second person I fought was a guy named Matthew Farrell, who had one of these clone decks that I later learned that's what it was called. And after I beat him, someone ran up to me who I didn't even know, said, "You just beat a clone deck." And I said, "What?" He said, "You beat a clone deck." And I didn't know what that meant. So in the third round, it was an Android 19 orange deck, energy beatdown, using Android 19 because I didn't know this. He had 12 power stages above 0 instead of 10. I never paid attention to that. Like I said, I never went online online really wasn't that big back then. So all these people talking about different decks was a very small community. I believe it was called DBZ Fanatics. Yeah, that I used to do some trades with, but I never really did any net decking, as the cool people like to call it now. So I had got all set up. I had my Time to Parties out. I had my Piccolo's Determination. Time to Party, let me backtrack for people that don't know. Time to Party is a non-combat. It raises each player to full, or each main personality to full power stage. Each player raises their anger 1, and you could search your life deck, each player, for a freestyle drill and put it in play. So I had that out. I had my Piccolo's Determination, which was a non-combat as well. Raise your anger 1 level, draw a card. So I had all that going for me, and when he saw my setup, I entered combat. I confrontationed away something that would lower my anger, and he looked at my side of the field or board and said, "I'm about to get Dragon's Victory." I said, "Yes," and he scooped. He's like, "I didn't even see that coming." So that regional, I won a lot of my games with Dragon's Victory. I balled out a few times because I ran 7 Namekian balls, or Namekian balls, as Matt would like to say. Shout out to Matt or Lodi for the win. And so I ended up only getting top 16. And that's all I've got to say about that, my Dragon's Victory deck.
So now we've got a Retro Z question.
No, Score Z. Don't call it Retro.
Oh, I thought you said Retro.
No, Retro is the new, like all the does. Yeah.
Score Z question of the week. What was your favorite personality from Old Z?
And any errata? Like pre-errata? Because they had like 89,000 erratas throughout Dragon Ball Z. So any errata is fine?
Any errata is fine.
Okay. Mine was Piccolo the Trained. When he had the errata, when entering combat, raise your anger 2 levels, because that went hand in hand with my Dragon's Victory deck. So, and that's what I kind of built it around. Right now in my deck, I have the Piccolo High Tech from Saiyan Saga. When entering combat as a defender, draw the bottom card, paired with the Trunks Saga Namekian Mastery. When entering combat, draw the bottom card of your discard pile. Or the High Tech was draw the bottom card of your discard pile too, so you got to recycle 2 cards. So if you timed or Frieza Smiled was a card that, combat card or event card, you have to use it as your first card this combat. Stop all physical attacks or stop all energy attacks, even yours. So that was perfect in my deck. So it was a nice little, what do they call it? Recycling card, both of them.
Yeah.
So Piccolo the Trained was a constant ability. When entering combat, raise your anger 2 levels. Personality powers do not work.
Yeah.
And I believe there was a point in time where there wasn't an errata to where you had to choose a personality and use it as a power. This was like, it just blanked off everyone's personality power, so that was pretty powerful.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Goku, Goku the Hero from Cell Saga. His power states, when entering combat, draw a card. That's good enough. The whole power says, when entering combat, draw a card. If that is a Goku named card and Chi-Chi and Gohan are in play, draw another card. That paired with the Saiyan Saga Mastery, Saiyan Style Mastery from Trunks Saga, gives you unbelievable hand advantage.
Do you want to go over the 2 different reasons to play Goku, like the 2 different masteries, what they do?
Go ahead.
Saiyan Saga,
Trunks Saga.
Trunks Saga Saiyan Style Mastery was when entering combat, draw a card. Show your opponent. If it's a Saiyan Style card, your opponent loses 4 power stages to a minimum of 0.
To kill orange decks.
Yeah. And Cell Saga Saiyan Style Mastery was when entering combat, discard the top card of your life deck. If it was a Saiyan Style card, draw 2 cards. If it was not, draw 1 card.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the exact wording, but that's the gist of the power. And I did not like the Cell Saga Mastery because I ran too many freestyle cards in my Saiyan deck to have it work all the time.
Yeah.
So that Saiyan Style, or the Trunks Saga Saiyan Style Mastery was great for the deck that we made.
And paired with Goku's physical attack, that was a physical attack which lets you draw the bottom card of your discard pile. If used by Goku, it gains remain 1. Vegeta's Quickness Drill, draw the bottom card of your discard pile when entering combat. Cell's Backhand, you draw a card if it's successful, a physical attack.
No, I don't think it was if successful.
It was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Cell's Backhand?
So all those, that gives you like 8 attacks per combat.
Remember when the Goku's physical attack was not removed from game after use? Oh man, that was crazy.
I would try to set it up to hopefully draw Goku's physical attack and discard it and rejuvenate another card, so that's on the bottom of your discard pile. So when you get another one, you just, that paired with Who's the Man.
Oh yeah, most underrated card in Cell Game Saga.
Who's the Man is a Cell Games rare where all your physical attacks do +5 power stages, but you have to play with your hand revealed.
I think it's +4, isn't it?
It could be.
Yeah, but it was a non-combat.
Yeah, so you could build up 3 of those suckers. Man, so I got a funny story to go along with that later on, which we should probably get into. Let's go ahead and talk about our funny stories. We're going to try to do a funny story each podcast for you guys. I'll start out because Brandon's probably got a better one, but this was the first ever Tough Enough tournament. Tough Enough is a structured tournament where if you beat your opponent and the last attack that kills them does more than their 7 life cards remaining, they're kicked out of the tournament. They get a drop.
Yeah, basically if you have 0 life cards and you could still do 7 more, then they're considered overkilled, and lose
the whole tournament.
Yeah, they're basically dropped.
Yeah. So this is the first ever Tough Enough tournament. This is the first round. I'm using Goku Saiyan Beatdown, and I'm paired against with another Goku Saiyan Beatdown. And I was looking at this guy. I was like, look at this guy. What's he trying to do? He's using the same deck as me. How dare he?
But his concept was different.
It was. So that made me annoyed how he was trying to mimic my deck.
Even though this was his first tournament there?
Yep. It was first tournament. His deck did seem a little identical to mine. I couldn't get more annoyed until he played Saiyan Flying Tackle, where you have to burn a card.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there thinking, how much more can you disrespect your deck? Burning cards out of your deck to do more damage, and you don't even know if it's going to go through.
So, Saiyan Flying Tackle is an uncommon Android Saga card. Physical act doing +3 power stages of damage. You could discard the top card of your life deck in order to do +6 stages instead.
Yeah. So he was disrespecting his deck in my eyes, milling his own cards away just to do extra damage. I had three Who's the Mans out, Goku's physical attack, Saiyan Flying Kick, some blocks.
Do you remember what location he was running?
I don't.
It might have been a Battleground. Cell's Arena.
Yeah.
Basically, his premise was Saiyan Lockdown. Cell's Arena, it was a location card. If you don't know, if you're from the New Z and don't know what location or battlegrounds are, basically you played these during your non-combat / setup phase.
And they'd be different ones like a Defenseless Beach, Winter's Countryside. Basically, it's the concept where your players go fly to this area to fight.
And I believe only when you place a battleground, or it's one or the other. If you place a location in play, I'm guessing you have to skip combat. But if it's a battleground, I think you don't have to.
I thought you had to skip both.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that might have been. I might have been thinking about OCG, with only having one set, but yeah. So Cell's Arena I think it's Cell's Arena. Basically, all attacks cost +1 power stage to use. So paired with his Saiyan style mastery, he'd get them to 0, and they wouldn't be able to perform attacks until they gain some stages.
Yeah, and so all attacks cost +1, but they do +2 life cards, right?
Yeah.
So I kept using Who's the Man. He kept swinging and missing with my blocks. I did. So each attack was +15, +12 for 15 damage on each of my attacks. He only had 5 life cards left. I had a choice of just to use a Goku's physical attack just to make him lose, or another powerful card like a Saiyan Flying Kick that was at +8, plus the +12 to overkill him. So I overkilled him. I swung him with my hardest attack, and he looked up and said, "Oh, that's overkill, huh? That sucks." Sad thing is he didn't even deserve that. We ended up becoming friends later, but I overkilled him for trying to mimic my Goku deck.
Didn't you have a battleground in play?
I don't think so.
City in Turmoil, where you couldn't use non-combat?
That was a different...
Oh, okay.
I had City and Turmoil out on another tournament and kept using Who's the Man, forgetting that I had City and Turmoil out, but pretty funny story. Feel bad for the guy now because, he didn't deserve to get knocked out of his first tournament.
Yeah, I even looked at Brad and was like, why'd you do that? Now we have less people to play against. So my story goes back to bringing this Namekian deck to Tough Enough. So it was at the regional event. So I had went to top 16 cut with it and decided to tweak it a little bit to make it Tough Enough worthy. And there was a Tough Enough event the next day. I don't remember how far I got in this, but I remember playing a quote-unquote well-respected player on the internet. His name was Yosha. And I don't know how he was so important. I don't know if he was like a score guy or what, but basically he and I sat down. I think we were both 2-0 at the time, and he was running a Krillin deck that abused Are You Tough Enough and Anger Management. I want to say I'll go over what those cards do. So no, I think it was just okay. So he was trying to run a Krillin freestyle deck and jump to level 3 Krillin, which basically states your energy attacks do +1 life cards of damage for each Krillin named card.
+1 power stage.
Oh, is it?
For each named card.
For each named card.
Not even just Krillin.
In your discard pile or remove from game?
Discard.
Okay. So essentially, if you have a deck full of named cards, which this guy did, and Krillin's Seeking Blast, you could do an attack for 4 life cards and plus 60 power stages.
Yeah.
Unstoppable, unpreventable. So I knew this going in because Brad kind of toyed around with that kind of deck. You had a black version?
No, it's freestyle.
Okay.
It sucked.
And so I knew what to expect. So we sat down. We're kind of playing. I have at this point in time, Piccolo and Heroes Gather was not banned or not restricted at the time. So you could have, I think they put limit 2. No, I think you could have 4 in your deck still.
And it was discard 2 cards from your hand to grab 2 combat cards.
Yeah, slash event.
From your life deck.
Yeah, so it was a setup. So I had a few of those out, and he kept trying to either Aura Clash or Are You Tough Enough to get to level 3.
Are You Tough Enough that you gain 100 anger?
Yep.
Pretty funny.
And I had 100 endurance.
Yeah.
So seeing this, I would use Piccolo and Heroes Gather to grab 2 spheres. One to sphere his Are You Tough Enough / Aura Clash, which Aura Clash was a combat card, lets you gain 6 anger, both players. So you would both level if Winter Countryside wasn't in play. Winter Countryside was a location that whenever you gained anger, you were only allowed 1 anger per card. So he would try to level up to level 3, and I would sphere it, he'd sphere, and then I'd sphere his sphere, and he would get upset, and I would just rejuvenate the 2 spheres and keep looping them into my hand every combat he tried to do this, and I saw he was getting so upset, and I eventually beat him by just rejuvenating and me not allowing him to get to level 3. And you could tell he was upset. He had this huge, I would imagine he'd have a neck beard in these days, but like his neck was like the neck from the Orc King in Lord of the Ring, or The Hobbit.
The Hobbit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge, and his neck would just warble every time he shook his head, like disgusted that I was keep getting my spheres. But I eventually
neck warble.
Yeah, I eventually just outlasted him. Like I said, I don't remember how far I get. I don't know if I top cut. I don't think I did because I would have remembered. But that was my funny story, keeping a well-proclaimed, quote-unquote, internet celebrity.
You kept him warbling.
Yeah.
Warbling at level 1.
Yeah.
So let's get out of this Scorzy and get into Pansy. Two sets
So some people might be offended by that. Pansy. Like, pansy.
Panini Z.
That doesn't sound as good. We'll just use pansy.
Pansy. 2 sets are out right now. The second set has been out for about a month. Once we found out,
it seems like so much long ago.
I know,
but it's only been 28 days.
Yeah,
March 13th is when it came out.
Yeah, so we got wind that this game was coming out again and it was going to be relaunched and it was going to be awesome. And Ake was going to be involved with it, the old score tester, and we were just so excited to get this. The first. I know Brandon, he was gung-ho and wanted to get a case, and he's like, let's get 2 cases, one of starters, one of boosters, and I couldn't afford that, so we settled on like 2 boosters and a starter box, and it just took off from there. Looked at all the cards, decided what deck we were going to make, and just got back into it. It's so great.
Yeah, the first deck I made was a Namekian Piccolo. I guess it's called Lameger. A Lameger deck. Like Lame Anger. Just passive.
Yeah.
Rejuvenate. Gain Anger. Just gain Anger outside of combat. There's a Namekian setup called Namekian Regeneration, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't enter combat, rejuvenate 4 cards. Boom. That's 2 Anger. Rejuvenate 4 cards and then rejuvenate 1.
Yeah.
So that was an awesome little combo there. I just loved playing against people on Octagon and having them play against me. I only played like 2 games on Octagon, but each one I just was able to win just by not entering combat. It was great.
Yeah.
And then soon after that, it got errated.
Yep.
So you guys all know the errata, so don't have to go for that. That's all I've got to say about that.
My guy's not errated yet, and hopefully he misses this new CRD.
Who, Krillin?
Yeah. No, it's Ginyu.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ginyu. I myself, I didn't look at the internet boards as well as I explained on Top Tier. I sat down, looked at all the cards. I know I wanted to play blue, and I just saw how much ally support it had. Overpowering attack, blue Ginyu. I was like, I'm building blue Ginyu. And
little did you know that it was like one of the top decks out there at the time.
Yeah, and I remember going to our first tournament at Adventures in Comics and Games, and like 3 people were running it, and they're like, "Oh, is Blue Ginyu gonna win again?" I was like, "Oh man, people hate Blue Ginyu." There's this one guy there. I hate freaking Blue Ginyu. Blue Ginyu's so lame. I'm like, "Oh man, I'm getting hate off my Blue Ginyu deck." Yeah, and it's just always been fun for me. I didn't really play allies in the past. In Scorzy, I had a Cell Junior deck that was okay, but the new Ginyu Force is awesome. I hope he misses a CRD.
Yeah, I don't think he's that much of a problem.
He's really easy to deal with. I mean, I've played other Ginyu decks, and they're not horrible to go up against. My son had an orange Ginyu deck, which annoyed me, because orange is probably my most hated style out there right now. It always has been, really. I don't like orange decks. I don't like the orange cards. I never have. But he got away from that. Now he's running Namekian Piccolo.
It helps that orange is a horrible color, too.
It is. It really is.
It's the second worst color behind yellow.
Yeah, because orange, like yellow's coward. All people who play orange decks are like, "Are you a coward?"
Yeah.
They are, because they play orange. They rely too much on drills. That's, I think, what I hate about it is they're all trying to get smart and study and learn all these drills, but once you get rid of the drills, what else they got? Energy attack. That's it.
For 4 life.
For 4 life. 5 with your mastery. Ooh. So I just always didn't like drills and orange style cards, so that's my beef with this game is orange. Never really liked it. But with the new CRD coming out, hopefully Wallbreaker gets some flack. I myself don't worry about Wallbreaker. I know Brandon hates it because he built a blue Frieza deck that's amazing until he got Wallbreaker at a tournament. And he's like, "Oh man, what the hell?"
Yeah, I got 2 wall breakers put on me. I know that once you get rid of one, the other one goes too, but it was just like a slap in the face to get wall breakered. First turn, level 1, twice. And, the guy with his little cocky smile, with his cocky cock. And I still was able to pull out the victory.
We're trying to keep this a clean show, remember? So we don't have to mark it as explicit.
Oh, no, I guess. But... yeah, he's sitting there smirking, and I really thought I was going to lose that one, but I pulled out the ball victory because my Frieza deck is just a blue ball / MPPV deck, which I basically,
you abuse the hell out of overpowering drill.
Yeah, I love overpowering drill.
With Frieza, that's like the best.
Yeah, and it's cool as long as I could get to level 2 and then get wall breakered, I'm okay. But once you get wall breaker on level 1, that makes his power just useless.
You know what? I did want to kind of go back and talk about these ultra rares from set 1. I hear a lot of people griping about, they shouldn't make them so expensive, for the villainous spheres and the hero spheres. They need to reprint them. They need to reprint God Goku. Okay, first of all, God Goku is an expensive card. It's not even a great card for the price it is. It's like a $200 card now. Burn 1, draw 1. That's it. And, he has a 100 million power level. Whatever. Get over it.
There's so many people at our local shop that think it's the most broken card there is when it really isn't.
It's not. It just makes you burn through your deck faster.
And people that just talk about that at our game shop just want an argument.
They do.
And I'm not just going to sit there and argue how good a card is.
Raditz is better than God Goku right now. You get to choose what card you get.
Yeah.
So what if the other one gets banished? God Goku decks don't rejuvenate anyway. So just play Raditz if you want to play God Goku. So what if he's weaker? You still get the hand advantage. Do an energy deck, whatever. So that's my first gripe. Is people are complaining about the ultra rares and how they need to be 1 per box and they need to not be as rare. Go back to Scorzy when you bought 2 cases and you didn't pull 1 ultra rare. And even a Saiyan Saga Medic Kit. I'm not even going to tell you what Medic Kit does. Go look at it and tell me if it's worthy of being an ultra rare. I'm so glad that these ultra rares are, how they are. They let the collectors look for something. They let the top players strive to get the packs to run 3 spheres in their deck. People say you could at our local shop. Oh yeah, I'll run it if I have 2. Just try to get 3. You need 3.
Should I think these spoiled people on here need to know what Medic Kit does.
Okay, Medic Kit. You're busting open 6 cases trying to get an ultra rare from Saiyan Saga.
And we know the guy at our local game shop, the owner, Avram, he went through probably 15, 16 boxes without getting a single ultra rare.
So enlighten us, what does this ultra rare Medic Kit do?
It's a non-combat.
Awesome.
And please remember that non-combats were used in the non-combat phase once you place them down, so you could use them at that point back in Saiyan Saga. So non-combat. Place the top 3 discard cards at the bottom of the life card deck. Limit 1 per deck.
Wow. Look at that. Bust open 16 cases and hope you pull one of those. Another one was Chaozu's physical defense. Let's go ahead and redo this one. This is another ultra rare that came up. The first Saiyan Saga set had 4 ultra rares. 2 of them are decent. Here, this one just knocks it out of the park.
You ready for this?
Tell us. Let's hope we're opening 16 boxes and hope we pull an ultra rare. What is it?
It's a combat / event.
Oh, that's tight.
Stops all heroes from losing 1 life card for this entire combat.
What?
Multiples of this card cannot be used together. Removed from the game after use.
Are you serious? You can't stack Chaozu's physical defenses on each other?
Yes.
Oh, man. So, the ultra rares now, the second set, they're pretty good. I mean, the first set, of course, man, those spheres. You gotta have those spheres in your deck. Those won me so many games. So let's not gripe about the ultra rares. At least we don't have Medic Kit coming back or Chaozu's physical defense.
You never know.
Man.
What about when they that tag team or whatever, when they released set 2 cards, were like, here's a picture of some of the cards, and people took those for realsies.
Oh man,
Like, these cards are for realsies.
no way.
Energy attack for 5 life cards costing 0. Oh, there's so much back and forth with that. I was like, there's no way these are what Panini is making. So
And people were scared shitless. I'll beep that out. They were so scared because the Vegeta ally
oh yeah.
events can't be used. I knew that wasn't going to last, and people were swearing up and down that
Ginyu just got so much better.
Ginyu, watch out for Ginyu. Whatever. People just need to chill out, let the cards be the way they are. Wallbreaker, I think, does need a CRD where it's hit only, but we'll see if that happens Monday. By the time you guys probably listen to this, we'll have an answer.
So what's coming up with the next episode?
We're going to come back with some more some more Score Z talk. We're going to have another question for you guys. We're going to discuss our tournaments that we went to this past Monday. And we'll also get our kids involved.
Yeah, tournament report. Look forward to that. We'll have that hopefully weekly on our podcast.
Yeah, we hope to drop it on Wednesdays for you guys so you guys can listen to it at work. And feel free to give us feedback on what you want to hear, even if you want us to discuss some of your questions.
Yeah, our website is...
Our website, you mean our email address?
Yeah. What's our email address?
podzccg.com. It's not. Go ahead and spell it out.
POD as in dog,
Z
CCG
as in goat.
at gmail.com.
podzccg@gmail.com.
And we're on the forum, the top tier forum. So, you can send us a message there, Crisis or Torment. And I think that's it for episode 1.
Yeah, we've got all of set 1 and set 2 foiled, but we're still looking for some trades. So check out Brandon's or Crisis's trade list. We need some Score Z cards. We need like 50 or 60. So if you guys want to donate them to us, some foil limited or trade for them, that's fine too. So just hit us up on top tier on the email address that we gave, and we'll see you guys next week.
So until next time, keep rocking the dragon.
Oh yeah.